Coming up on AgweekTV, some ideas for finding a profit in these challenging times. Find out what drove a small dairy producer from South Dakota to Minnesota, and big honors for an NDSU swine expert as he heads into retirement. Hello and welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Shauna Olson. Good weather helped upper Midwest farmers produce some of the best crops ever last year. That's according to the USDA's 2015 crop report released this week. The region's so-called big three of corn, wheat, and soybeans generally fared well. Several minor crops, including lentils, sorghum, and sunflowers, had exceptional success in yields and production. In North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota, corn yields were all up, with Minnesota seeing the biggest increase, a whopping 32 bushels an acre more than in 2014. Meanwhile, with wheat, North Dakota and Minnesota saw mild increases in yields, while South Dakota dropped from 55 bushels an acre last year to 46 this year. North Dakota saw a 2 bushel an acre drop in soybeans, while South Dakota and Minnesota both saw increases. You can find full details of the report at agweek.com. This year's growing season could be another challenging one when it comes to finding a profit. That's according to NDSU's projected crop budgets for 2016. Andrew Swenson with NDSU Extension is the farm management specialist. For the past 24 years, he's been preparing the projected crop budgets. The study estimates revenues and costs for the upcoming season. Swenson looked at 19 crops in 9 regions of the state. He found a few surprises for the 2016 growing season.
Soybeans is a go-to crop, probably in over half the state. And that's shown. We've had a 7-fold increase in soybean acres in the past 20 years. So it usually always shows, a positive return. And this year, that's not the case. It shows a positive return in one region, kind of a break even in the southeast region. The rest of the state, it shows a negative return to labor and management. So that was kind of a surprise. And then also dry edible beans usually shows a pretty good profit, and that's basically break even in most regions.
Swenson says another surprise is corn. It looks better than soybeans in 6 of the 9 regions, which is different from the past 2 years. He says some small crops look better than others in some regions, but they also come with a risk.
There are some other minor crops that look like, they might be profitable. Mustard in particular looks like a pretty good return to labor and management, buckwheat a little bit. But those are very minor crops, and many acres of those would destroy the market. And if you're going to grow those, you have to know that, it may be a little higher risk in growing them, and you certainly want a contract to make sure you got that planting price.
Swenson says spring wheat is showing a negative return in almost all regions except for the northeast corner. But he says there are some reductions in cost, which includes fuel, fertilizer, and crop insurance. Marshall Korn and his wife Melanie have milked cows for nearly a decade. Korn grew up in South Dakota, but when he wanted to start a small dairy operation, he was discouraged by the response from the FSA office in Sioux Falls. As Mikkel Pates reports, Korn went to Minnesota, where he found the help he needed to get started.
Marshall Korn here at Atwater, Minnesota, is enjoying his part of the dairy industry, which is the small part of the dairy industry. The Korns are part of a very small group of young farmers who want to milk only 50 or 60 cows. Minnesota seems to have embraced the Korn couple's dream. They got a $3,000 grant through the Minnesota Department of Agriculture to get started.
It was a nice thing. When we started milking cows, we didn't really have any money. I think literally we probably had $1,000 when we started milking cows. And just a whole lot of ambition. When you looked at the programs that were available in Minnesota with the beginning farmer things and the farm business management and the dairy profit teams, and they just were inclined more to help, younger people that wanted to milk 50, 60 cows.
The Korns have seen some big highs and lows over the last decade. When prices collapsed in 2009, the corns got help from the state's Farm Business Management Program. While they weathered the worst of it then and the best in 2014, now they're bracing for some tough times again.
We positioned ourselves knowing that with a high comes a low. And I'm not saying the next 12 are going to be easy, because they're not. You know, we got a long way to go starting from nothing like we have. But, you know, there's a lot more hope going into this low than there was the last low, because we're now able to sell extra cattle and are positioning ourselves to hopefully do better this time than 09 turned into.
While dairy prices look challenging in 2016, Marshall Korn here at Atwater, Minnesota, says he's still looking forward to it. This is Mikkel Pates for AgweekTV.
Corn's cows average about 60 pounds of milk a day. Organizers of the annual Lake Region Extension Roundup always try to offer information on a wide range of topics for farmers. As Jonathan Knutson reports, this year they focused on some lesser-known crops as ideas to help growers make money.
It's another new year and time for another Extension Roundup. This annual two-day event here in Devil's Lake covers a wide range of interesting and important ag topics.
It's all about profitability, so with the crop margins like they're going to be, we're really focusing on trying to help producers determine best avenues, whether it be maybe what I would call specialty crops like maybe mustard or lentils or something like that, even to our basic crops like we've been growing with the corn and soybeans. You know, give them some tips that maybe they could cut a couple dollars here or cut a couple dollars there maybe and help them get through this season.
There's so much to learn and know in modern ag. Events like this one help farmers and ranchers stay on top.
I like to hear about the newest varieties and anything that's kind of new technologies and stuff like that. So just keeps you on top of everything that's new and upcoming.
For Ag Week, I'm Jonathan Knutson.
Cattle producers are facing some big challenges, waiting for a rise in the markets. We'll hear from some experts next on AgweekTV.
How did we become the region's largest independent seed company? By taking a very simple but powerful stand. We will sell no seed that we wouldn't be happy to plant on our own farm. Peterson Farm Seed. Stand tall.
Drainage Solutions is experienced in the tri-state area. Their skilled employees will design, implement, and maintain the best drainage system available. Drainage Solutions uses state-of-the-art equipment along with the best data resources available to design a drainage system that they guarantee will be both efficient and cost-effective. Whether you're considering drain tile for the first time or adding to your existing drainage system, let Drainage Solutions design the most appropriate site-specific drainage for your needs. Total Ag Industries is the leader in total control. Their custom-built fertilizer systems are the crown jewel of the Total Ag lineup. Total Ag systems come with a fully customizable fill system, and the variable rate hydraulic drive system works with John Deere displays for real-time feedback and complete fertilizer monitoring. Total Ag's field-tested design allows precise control and accurate application in your fields for better yields and more profit. Contact Total Ag by phone or visit totalag.com.
Oh no, look out! Oh.
You kids stay in the car. I'll be right there. Honey, I'm gonna need my Carhartts.
When you pull on a set of Carhartt Extremes from Home of Economy, it's like wrapping yourself in a suit of armor, which can come in handy because sometimes being a parent feels more like being a superhero, and battling the elements is just another part of the job. Find your Carhartt Extremes at the guaranteed lowest price, only at Home of Economy, where your dollar buys more.
Who do you call when you have grain dryer issues? His number is probably already on your phone. Guy Kittleson of American Farm Equipment, 701-793-8804. With over 35 years experience in grain dryer sales, Guy was grain dryers before grain dryers were cool. He sells and services American, Chief, and Deluxe grain dryers with capacities from 200 to 10,000 bushels per hour. Guy works on them all. But when it comes to confidence and dependability in your grain dryer, buy from Guy. Guy Kittleson, American Farm Equipment.
These are challenging times for cattle producers. Prices have been on a roller coaster, dropping about a third from last year's record highs. Mitch Bartle owns the Perham, Minnesota stockyards. He says these aren't the lowest prices he's ever seen, but he says many of his customers are holding back, hoping for a rise in the next couple of weeks.
They've certainly been thinking about what their decision-making process is going to be, how if this market's going to come back or stay low or get lower. So certainly been watching with a lot of interest. It has dropped a tremendous amount in the last 3 months from August, September down here into December, first part of 2016, January. Looks like we got a little spike or hit the bottom probably, and looks like maybe come back a hair and see what happens from here, but nobody really knows.
The Flatto family farms and raises cattle near Perham. The Flattos say they've seen lots of highs and lows over the years, but now their input costs are higher. So they're hoping prices settle at a little higher rate in the next few weeks.
I hope it bounces back, but in my opinion, I think we're not gonna see the highs like we had last winter or even into last spring, but hopefully it moderates and hopefully we see some little higher prices than what they are currently, help pay the bills.
There are several reasons for the highs and lows. Corn prices dropped, so cattlemen fed their cattle longer rather than taking the grain to the market. The U.S. dollar increased in value, and the swine industry recovered from a devastating virus. It's unusual for both cattle and grain prices to be low at the same time. Jared Hofer, the director of the Farm and Ranch Management Program at Mitchell, South Dakota Technical Institute, says it's mostly dictated by worldwide supply and demand. After several years of good crops and high prices, Hofer says this is the economy fixing itself. He says for now, the best producers may be able to hope for is losing less money.
Everything in agricultural economics is cyclical. Everything that goes up is going to come down. We knew, having the good years that we did, that we were going to have a correction coming. It's just unfortunate that we're hitting our low in grain and livestock at about the same time, because there's just not a lot of opportunities, like I said, out there for producers to make a lot of money. But the diversified producer is still doing far better, the producer that has both livestock and grain, because again, the two tend to offset each other.
Hofer says, unfortunately, he's not very optimistic about much improvement in profits in 2016. The USDA plans to buy about $14 million worth of pinto and Great Northern beans. USDA can buy surplus commodities for domestic food assistance programs. This effort began in July with a request from the North Harvest Bean Growers Association and the North Central Bean Dealers Association. The groups say the purchase will help the bean market. Ahead on AgweekTV, when can we expect a warm-up? Your forecast is next. And later, an NDSU ag expert gets a big honor as he heads into retirement.
Say goodbye to expensive window treatments and Saturdays filled with dusting. Minn Kota Windows offers blinds between the glass and select window styles and sliding patio doors. With low E glass, they're even more energy efficient. They're easy to operate, have a clean, efficient look, and control privacy, light, and heat. And the best part is, they're safe for kids and pets. Blinds between the glass from Minn Kota Windows. Midwest built, Midwest tough, guaranteed for life.
Minn Kota Windows, windows for your world.
This is Dennis Belisky reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Pronovost snowblowers, just what you need. Lots of standard features and 33 models available in the colors you want. The high level of manufacturing and performance standards assures you of owning the superior, most advanced equipment. Snowway is the leader in designing snowplows with a big appetite for snow. Whether you're seeking a snowplow for your truck, skid steer, or UIV, Snowway has a highly engineered snowplow to fit your needs with a variety of options. For Pronovost snowblowers or Snowway snowplows, contact your nearest dealer or North Country Marketing.
As a manufacturer, if you don't actually farm, there's so many places where you go wrong if you really don't have a true gut feeling for the end result. From the seed placement, fertilizer placement, packing, weigh scales, variable rates, everything that we have is put there to make you more money. At the end of the day, we guarantee that with Super Seed Guarantee.
Tightline Drainage is the Red River Valley's most trusted name for tile. Tightline uses the Port Hydromax plow and also Port Hydromax trenchers for installing our laterals and mainline accurately. The science behind drain tile proves healthier plant growth and greater yields. Tightline Drainage also sells pipes, fittings, tiling plows, landau tillage equipment, and more. Tightline Drainage is owned and operated by experienced agricultural professionals who understand the need for progressive agricultural practices. Call Tightline Drainage for a free drainage design today at 701-235-1900.
Welcome now to the weather portion of Ag Week. Our outlook this week focuses on a few areas. One, the Arctic blast. Very cold weather into the northern plains, especially this weekend. Second thing is more rain coming for California over the next couple of weeks. And finally, there's probably a couple of chances of some pretty decent snowfalls through the Midwest. But first of all, let's talk about this Arctic blast. Interesting weather pattern shaping up for the region. It has been very cold the last few days, especially in North Dakota, Minnesota, down into parts of South Dakota, and some other parts of the Midwest. Some very, very cold weather. So where does this all come from in the middle of El Nino? Well, let's take a closer look at the Earth here, and you'll notice that the cold weather is not really covering all of the Earth. It's not like it's cold everywhere. It's just a jet stream pattern that has dropped down really mostly into the northern plains. Overall, the world is not terribly cold. This little cold snap will cycle through, as cold snaps do, and it will eventually start retreating back up to the north in the next few days. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to see balmy weather in January like we did in December, but I'm still convinced that throughout the northern plains and the upper Midwest, when this winter is over, it will go down as an above average winter. The subtropical jet still very strong, still very much an El Nino pattern. We just got a little cold air bubble that dropped out of the north, this little bulge in the jet stream that has made our weather cold. But it should soon be heading right on back to Canada. Meanwhile, the overall view of things, take a look at this. Here is our cold weather into the northern plains. Over the next week or so, the polar branch of the jet stream, which has brought this south, will kind of go into retreat by Wednesday. The cold air, the really cold stuff, will be back into Ontario and the Hudson Bay region. Another little dip means we're not going to have a great warm-up, but I am anticipating that temperatures will moderate throughout the northern plains and upper Midwest this week. A little swirl in the jet suggests that toward the latter part of the week, some parts of the upper Midwest, perhaps Iowa, maybe over around Chicago, may be in for a substantial snowstorm. And the subtropical jet does remain very, very strong, but its focal point for the time being is out over the Atlantic. So what are we talking about for precipitation this week? Rain in the Pacific Northwest, the LA area mostly dry in Southern California and Arizona in the southwest. The southeast looks quite rainy, which is again very typical of an El Nino pattern. And later this week, a pretty good chance for a snowstorm somewhere in the upper Midwest, perhaps Iowa. Not much coming to the northern plains. As we head toward week 2, the rains will shift southward down into Southern California. Texas will start to dry out. The southeast still somewhat wet, and it looks like another chance for some rain and snow the second week through parts of the upper Midwest, so places from Iowa to Madison to Chicago may be getting some decent precip.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? AgWeek magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. AgWeek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted. AgWeek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
Commitment. You need it to succeed on the farm. It's total dedication to the land, family, and community. It's more than a way to make a living. It's a way of life. You've had it since the first time you ran your hands through the soil, helped bale hay, or rode along in the combine. Your commitment. It's as strong as your family's trust, as honest as each long day you put in, and as pure as the opportunity that comes with every tomorrow. It's how we build our bins. With proven design, superior structural integrity, a lifetime warranty, and a promise to stand with you, no matter what storms come your way. The harvest will always be protected, so you can sell when it's right for you, your family, and your farm. Commitment. It's why we can say, there's nothing standard about superior.
It's time to demand more. With Micro Essentials, you get more from every acre. Through our fusion technology, only Micro Essentials combines 4 vital nutrients into one powerful granule, ensuring uniform nutrient distribution and increased nutrient uptake. The innovation behind our fusion technology means you'll grow stronger, healthier plants. Micro Essentials. Get more from every acre.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
AgweekTV, presented by Peterson Farm Seed.
North Dakota State University's Saddle and Sirloin Club has named its Agriculturalist of the Year. This year's honoree has a special connection to the club. Reporter Tracy Frank is here now with the details. Tracy, who is it?
Shauna, the club named Ron Zimprick the 90th Little International Agriculturalist of the Year. He's managed NDSU's swine research unit for almost 45 years and was the club's advisor for 24 years. Now Zimprick is ending his career on a high note. He retired January 8th. Ron Zimprick says managing NDSU's swine research unit has been like being a farmer without the risks.
Lots of good pigs is what we're hoping for.
The farrow-to-finish operation produces about 2,500 finishing hogs a year to be used for research and teaching.
It's a real diverse job. You see all aspects, so it's been fun.
He grew up on a diversified farm that produced small grains, dairy cows, and some pigs near Cooperstown.
This opportunity come up here for me and was something that I was familiar with, and I grabbed on, and I guess it stuck. With the ear notching system, we could identify 1,600 pigs without duplicating the number.
Zimprick has influenced many students over the years, both at the college level and working with 4-H and FFA members on swine projects. Because of Zimprick's involvement with the club, having served as club advisor from 1985 to 2009, the club is honored to name him Agriculturalist of the Year.
It's a person that's been very influential in agriculture in the state of North Dakota, and because our club prides itself in bringing animal agriculture to the public and promoting animal husbandry, we feel that's something very pertinent to emphasize.
I really do appreciate the recognition. I think we all kind of work for that recognition to some extent, and yet it was totally unexpected. Pretty well floored when they told me I won.
Zimprick has been heavily involved in the swine industry as a North Dakota pork producer member for 45 years. He's also served on the State Pork Producers Council for 20 years and was president and secretary of the North Dakota Regional Pork Producers. He'll be honored at the Little International Hall of Fame banquet. Little I is a 2-day public event on campus and around Fargo that draws hundreds of people for FFA and 4-H contests, a showmanship competition, a dance, and the banquet. The banquet is February 12th. The social starts at 5 p.m. and the meal is at 6. Tickets are $25.
All right, what an honor and well-deserved. Thanks, Tracy. Is the cattle cycle still a reliable predictor of profitability? We'll hear what Jonathan Knutson thinks next on AgweekTV.
For home delivery of Agweek, log on to agweek.com or call 800-811-2580.
How did we become the region's largest independent seed company? By taking a very simple but powerful stand. We will sell no seed that we wouldn't be happy to plant on our own farm. Peterson Farm Seed. Stand tall.
Upgrade your trailer to electric with the Rolltech electric system from Agricover. Strong, flexible pivot arms and motor mount rotate and telescope, allowing the roll tube to rise and flex over heaped loads. The positive automatic lock is impossible to back off to control the flow of grain. This integrated system uses one wireless remote to operate up to 10 tarps and hoppers, keeping your driver out of the dust, rain, and harm's way. See the Rolltech system in action at an Agricover dealer near you.
Soybean producers, plan to attend the Northern Soybean Expo February 2nd at the Fargo Holiday Inn. Beginning at 7:30 a.m., enjoy a buffet breakfast with soybean researchers. Highlights of the day include a live taping of the U.S. Farm Report, moderated by John Phipps, Dr. Barry Asmus, senior economist with the National Center for Policy Analysis, and Dr. Bill Wilson, professor in the Department of Agribusiness and Applied Economics at NDSU. That's the 2016 Northern Soybean Expo, February 2nd at the Fargo Holiday Inn.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? Agweek Magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. Agweek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted. Agweek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
As we reported earlier in the show, these have been some roller coaster years for cattle producers. Now, Jonathan Knutson shares his thoughts on the cattle cycle.
I grew up with cattle, and I've always liked economics. So the cattle cycle intrigues me. It's a long-established pattern in which cattle prices and numbers alternately rise and fall. It's given insight and guidance to generations of cattle producers. But for the past 15 years, the cycle just hasn't worked very well. A lot of people are wondering, does the cycle still matter? Is it still valid? The best answer from experts? Yes, it still has value. It's still useful, but not as useful as it used to be. The world is more complicated than ever. It has more moving parts than ever. The cattle cycle just can't be as influential as it used to be, but it can still help to guide the planning of cattle producers.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of AgweekTV. For all your ag news, go to agweek.com.